Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Hall. I'm your host, Dylan Lang. It is August 1st, 2018, 8118. And this week's Comic Hall is, again, kind of small like last week's, but with it being the first of a 5-week month, we do have a 5-week month this month for comics, so you're going to get some interesting stuff at the end of the month. There are a good number of number ones out this week. However, unlike last week there was a lot of sex in the books. This week, not so much. I don't think there's any sex in any of the books, but maybe a little nudity in one of the books. But other than that, nothing really, exciting going on sexual-wise. But we're not here to see that. We're here to read about comics. These are your comics for the Comic Hall this week. First up, this week from Marvel. The Marvel Rising summer series, setting up the animated series, going to be on Disney in a couple weeks, was supposed to continue with the Miss Marvel Squirrel Girl crossover, but my store didn't have any, so I asked, hey, what's going on with this? I'm going to go in for my daughter, and they're like, yeah, all the books have been sent back to Marvel because there was a printing error on every book that was printed. They skipped a page, so they're going to reinsert the page and reprint all the stuff and ship back all the orders that the stores ordered. So if you're looking for that book, you're not going to probably get it for a couple of weeks. Your store should have told you about it. I better move up. This light is driving me crazy. Here we go. Your store should have told you about it. I still don't like it. So if they didn't, that's the reason why there is no Marvel Rising Miss Marvel Squirrel Girl number one crossover this week. It'll be out probably, my guy said, probably about 2 weeks, because they got to get all the books back, they got to reprint it, and they got to add to make sure the right page is put in there, and then reprint them and ship them back out to everybody. So it'll probably take a couple weeks to get taken care of. So there's that. And also the main reason why I do this show was to get you guys into the comic book stores and to check out new comics. And as I said, we got a lot of number ones for you guys to check out this week, and some continuing good storylines as well. So the non-sexy episode of the Comic Hall on Midsummers, because if you think about it, Midsummers is right around now, because summer starts June 21st and fall begins September 22nd. So June 21st is like half a month of summer, and then the whole month of July, then you have the whole month of August and half month of September. So the exact middle is, boom, August. So here we go. From DC, we have The Adventures of the Super Sons. I was disappointed when they canceled Super Sons. This is a 12-issue maxi series, so we'll get 12 issues of Super Sons written by Peter Tomasi. So I'm happy about that. Carlo Barberi comes back with Art Thibault to do the artwork. So I'm excited to see that. This was an excellent book, and the fact that we got pretty much the same team that finished the book is exciting, and looking forward to it, because it is a great series. These two characters have such a good rapport that I'm very glad that the book is continuing, and I like the fact that Tomasi will be writing it. So, Adventures of the Super Sons. At least we'll see Jonathan somehow, because he's definitely not in the Superman books, because Brian Michael Bendis doesn't like him. So, get that later. Batman number 52, continuing the story arc after the wedding. This one has Bruce Wayne at jury duty. With Mr. Freeze on trial. Batman brought him in, and Mr. Freeze claims he was coerced, and so Bruce is trying to fight what he's going through with the fact that he may have actually coerced Mr. Freeze from doing it. Tom King writing it. Lee Weeks artwork. It's gorgeous artwork, and this book just continues to be amazing. And and it's basically is jury duty, really. I mean, it's basically Bruce Wayne explaining why he doesn't believe Mr. Freeze is guilty. And so an interesting take on things as well. So it's nice artwork. Should be, and was the first part of it was pretty good, so hopefully this one will be just as good. Next up, we have Justice League number 5, which I guess they're going to be doing story arcs, because Scott Snyder's not writing this one. This is a new story arc called Legion of Doom, and it's written by James Tynion IV, pencils by Doug Mahnke, and art by Jaime Mendoza. So this one focuses on the fact that the bad guys beat the superheroes in the last story arc, so now we're going to be focusing on the villains. But the fact that Scott Snyder is not writing it, that this is actually James Tynion, I'm guessing that they're just going to be alternating story arcs, I suppose. And you got Doug Mahnke doing the artwork, so I guess it's an interesting way of doing things. We'll see. The first Justice League arc was okay. We'll see. Deathstroke number 34, continuing the Deathstroke versus Batman storyline, and again DC continuing with their word balloons on the covers. Christopher Priest, writer, Carlo Paglione, artist, Jason Paz, and Trevor Scott inks. So we have Deathstroke facing off against Batman in the Batcave, having a discussion written by Christopher Priest. So, don't care. So, about that. Next up, we have the variant cover of Mr. Miracle number 10. I've loved this series, also by Tom King. I like this cover because of just it's about his son. His son went to Batman party, and there it is. And there's Mr. Miracle is upset because of what happened in the previous issues. Tom King writer, Mitch Gerard's artist, and again, every page are these 9 panel stories, and the story is good. Well, actually, there's a little sex in this because there's nude Barda, and we'll get a little, and there's nude Mr. Miracle, and just continuing their storyline. And things don't seem to be going well for this couple. Hopefully it got cleaned up. I guess there's some sex here, so there's some sexy time here with that. So good on that. So you do get a little sexy time there. Maybe I'll draw my viewers in again. That's it for DC. First up for Marvel, we have Captain America number 2. I think it's a really cool cover. It's written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and Leinil Francis Yu did the artwork. Continuing the new version of Captain America as we take on a modern sort of scenario in the Captain America world. So that Astonishing X-Men number 14, written by Matthew Rosenberg, with art by Greg Land and inks by Jay Leaston. You get Dazzler is back in this as well. I like the artwork. It's nice. I know a lot of people don't like Greg Land for various reasons, but I think the artwork looks really, really good, and I really like the cover, and that's why I like the team that we have assembled here. So it's a pretty good saga there. That's it for Marvel. From DC, we have Robots versus Princesses number 1. I just like this. It's just an interesting idea. Written by Todd Matthey, illustrated by Nicholas Chopius. It's basically what it says there. It's princesses taking on robots. So I just had to see what this is all about, and it looks definitely interesting. So, ooh, and Mark Russell's going to be writing The Lone Ranger. That's interesting. Mark Russell's the guy who's been writing Snagglepuss and the Flintstones, so that could be interesting. From Karen Berger Books, by way of Dark Horse, we have the Seeds, number 1, written by Ann Nocenti with art by David Aja. This one's got some nudity in it, but it's Ann Nocenti. Loved her artwork, loved her writing in the 90s. And David Aja's artwork is actually really good. There's a little bit of sex in this one as well, so you get a little sex there. So it's a couple of sexy time books. Not as much as last week, but there's some in there. But it's nice artwork, and should be an interesting storyline. Also, number 1 this week is Leviathan, number 1. It's written by John Layman with art by Nick Pitara. It looks sort of like a guy who meets up with a giant Godzilla-type monster. It's got sort of a Jeff Darrow quality to it. And, I don't want to see that. Some sort of Donald Trump thing as well. Yeah, there's a massive Donald Trump, anti-Donald Trump type of thing in there, so that's interesting. So, pretty interesting stuff there, so that might be interesting as well. Had to get this because I'm a big dumb male, but Red Sonja number 19. I like this cover. Written by Amy Chu and Eric Burnham with art by Carlos Gomez. continuing their run on Red Sonja. Been pretty good so far. She's back in her fantasy world, no longer in the current times. We also have Dark Arc number 9, written by Cullen Bunn with art by Juan Doe. Basically, the premise behind that is that, yes, we all know about Noah and his arc, but the devil also asked someone to make an arc and bring all the evil on board it, and we're following the evil arc. It's a good premise, interesting premise. And finally, from Aftershock, we have Animosity number 15, written by Marguerite Bennett with art by Rafael de la Torre. A little bit of a flashback sort of things going on. This has always been a excellent series as well, and continues to grow and be great. That's it for this week. It's a very short one. I was supposed to do an episode of my show, my regular show, last week, but I got sidetracked. So I'll probably be doing a double this week before I go on vacation. Next week, there will probably not be a comic call since I will be on vacation and I will not be getting to the comic book store. So I might have to do a double in 2 weeks. So I'll probably see you in 2 weeks with a double comic haul, which I haven't done in a while, but it's vacation and we're not going to take my computer with us, and I'm not going to be able to buy comics at a comic book store because I don't know the area where we're going. So, I mean, I know where I'm going, but I don't know if there's any comic book stores in the area, and besides, not the point. The point is vacation. So I will see you in 2 weeks. Looks like my wife is going somewhere. I'm not exactly sure, but well, there's that. On that note, I'm going to take off and have a good night.